Woohoo! Super excited. Aloha, everybody. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I love seeing people from around the world already in the chat. We have folks from the Netherlands. Is it Goedenavond? I think it's the evening there. And also from Germany as well. Aloha. Good to see you folks. Aloha, ahi, ahi. Good evening. Oh, and I see brother Sam too. Sam, we always love seeing you in the chat. Thank you so, so much for always being such a ray of sunshine. It's very cool. Hey, Larry, I see you. Good to see you. And as I said when I was sending you a note, we need to get the boys together to play. That backyard water slide thing looked epic. So I'm going to invite us to your house. I hope you and Kai don't mind. But it's great. People from all across Boston, North Carolina. Oh my gosh, Massachusetts. Hey, Moses is on. Fantastic. I feel like we haven't gotten to see Moses in ages. It's so awesome. Oh, hi, Skip and Judy. Good to see you. Okay, everybody. This is so cool. I love it, folks. From all over the place. We are really, really lucky. We actually have special guest joining us, Mr. Herb Ohta Jr., which we will discuss some of his stuff in a minute. But should we jump to the news already, Craig?
We might as well, huh? Let's do it. Let's see. I gotta do.
Some of the news is the same from last time. But so in the Craig and Sarah news, I just wanted to let you folks know that, yes, we do have our monthly live stream. We haven't decided what the topic will be yet. We're vacillating between two different thoughts. But July 13th at 9 a.m. Hawaii time, noon Pacific, we are going to be doing another live stream workshop. Woo! And then July 8th through 13th, and on the 13th, for this one, it'll be in the evening. July 8th through 13th, we are so, so excited to be able to be teaching keiki. We are working with Hawaii Youth Symphony, their Pacific Music Institute program for their ukulele workshops, grades 6 through 12. And if you don't have to live in Hawaii, you can always come in for it. But I think today is the last day for registration. So sign up right away, sign up your grandkids, etc. So also coming up, Craig and Sarah news. Hey, did you guys know that we're doing a virtual ukulele retreat with two amazing, amazing people, Jake Shimabukuro, as well as Herb Ohta Jr. and Craig and I.
Is this our third one?
This is our third one, and the reason why I love these virtual retreats is that everyone learns something, including us. I always learn something from Herb and Jake whenever we're around them. And it's really fun. And at the end, even though it's virtual, you kind of get this, you feel like your family. It's a really neat experience. And I know many of you have done that experience with us in the past since this is the third one. And everything is recorded, so you actually have access to it afterwards so that you can keep working on it, because there's going to be, some pretty heavy stuff. Jake always ends up going down a path that you're like, wow, that is fascinating, and that's going to take me years to work on. So definitely join us. It's going to be August 24th and 25th. So we look forward to seeing you guys online for that. Also, our March retreat. So we did open up a few more slots. I think there's actually only 5 left. So if you would like to join us for our March retreat, so far we have announced Aldrin Guerrero and Cynthia Lin as two of our guest instructors. Of course, we have Corey Mao and Neil Chin and Craig and I as the core staff, but there's a bunch of other folks that we're going to be announcing as well very, very soon. So there's that. And also, you want to go on a boat with us, technically a ship, with us, Herb Ohta Jr. and, of course, Neil Chin. We are leaving out of Seattle. It's 7 days. Oh, I guess this is Herb's first time seeing the graphic. He's the sun. He's our sunshine. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, Herb. You're welcome. But so it's going to be a lot of fun. June 20th through 27th. Come jam with us. There will be workshops on the C days, and then
we pretty much have the schedule laid out. There's going to be lots of time for not only learning ukulele, but we made sure that on port days you're going to have time to do the port stuff. You're going to have time to enjoy the ship. So I feel like this is going to be the best mix.
Yes.
And we don't overload you with the ukulele stuff.
And we'll probably post the mock schedule soon for those of you that have been on the fence. And also 4 Strings at a Time news, Ukulele Club of Hawaii, June 15th. Please join us, 9 a.m. Hawaii time. If you want to join us in person, it's at Windward Mall in Kaneohe, and it meets every third Saturday. And this particular month, it's going to be led by Jonah Davis. I'm super excited. That man is always so busy, and we never get to see him. So we're like, we're going to see you. Please come lead songs. So I'm very excited. Please join us. The free lesson is up, by the way. Go to 4stringsatatime.org. Also, save the date, September 21st. We have got our fundraiser for 4 Strings at a Time. We are very thrilled that Windward Mall is graciously offering to host this event for us. It will be live streamed, just like how we live stream Ukulele Club. And think of it like a mega club. There's going to be performances from keiki professionals, but we'll also have lots of play-alongs as well. So you'll want to have your ukulele handy, whether you are at the mall with us or at home enjoying the live stream of the event. So there's that. And then next up, we have got in July, there's 2 events happening here. Oh, and something funny happened with my graphics, but that's okay. Hawaii Ukulele Festival is going to be July 14th at Kapi'olani Park. If you want more information, their website is there, hawaiiukulelefestival.com. There's also the International Ukulele Festival of Hawaii, run by Ukulele Picnic. That's going to be July 27th at Kapi'olani Park. And if you want to learn more, go to ukelelepicnichawaii.org. Both are free and should be a ton of fun. Also, festival news, somebody wrote to us and said, hey, did you know that there is a festival happening in Tennessee? It's Music City Uke Fest, August 1st through 4th. And there's actually things happening in 2 cities, but I'm assuming that that they're not too far away from each other. Brentwood and Franklin, Tennessee, depending on what activities you're doing, you'll be in some different spots because it looks like they're actually having it at several different locations, which is really exciting. If you'd like to learn more about this wonderful festival, go to musiccityukefest.net. I believe our good friend Little Rev is going to be there, as well as many other talented folks. Also, super stoked, our good friend, Mr. Herb Ohta Jr. is going to be at Mighty Uke Day, y'all.
Nope.
So hopefully you've gotten your tickets.
No, that's not Mighty Uke Day.
Not Mighty Uke Day. Oh, no, I messed up that graphic. I'm so sorry. It's Midwest Uke and Harmonica Camp. So scratch that out. Midwest Uke Camp. It's actually one of Craig and I's absolute favorite events. I'm jealous, actually, that Herb and also Brian Tolentino will be there, as well as there's a ton of artists. Our good friend Andy Wilson is usually there teaching harmonica, too. But that one is going to be a lot of fun. It is July 19th through 21st in Toledo, Ohio. So definitely check out MidwestUkeCamp.com.
That's the spiritual place, huh?
Oh.
Yes.
This Craig and his horrible joke.
Because it's Holy Toledo, right?
Uh-huh. Now, are you unmuted, Craig?
Yes, I'm unmuted.
Dang it. It's okay. But anyway, but the great thing about Herb coming over is that he is going to be touring, and a lot of stops are going to be with Brian. Hey, Herb, do you want to talk to us a little bit about that tour? Because y'all are going everywhere, it seems like.
Well, we start off in California.
Mm-hmm.
We do Island Bazaar.
Yeah, Island Bazaar.
We do something with Gary, our friend Gary Tori.
Also LA area.
And then we hit Concord at the Q. And then we head up to Toledo for the Midwest
Holy
Ukulele
Toledo.
Harmonica. Yeah, Holy Toledo.
Holy Toledo. Very good.
Yep. And then we go to actually Indiana.
Nice.
But we fly into Louisville, Kentucky. Anyways. And then we head to New Jersey and we see our friend Andy Wang.
Yay.
Slacky extraordinaire. Guitar player. And then we go to Virginia and head back home.
If you can't tell, Herb is actually really excited for this tour.
This is his excited face.
I don't normally get up this early in the morning. The only time I get up early in the morning is when I work with Craig and Sarah.
Yeah, this is true.
So, yep, this is very true.
So there's, and is that it? Where's your last stop? Because there's a Kanikapila thing you're also doing too, but that's in August. Yeah, that's a different trip.
Oh, end of August in San Jose. In San Jose, there's a Kanikapila event that we were doing pre-pandemic, and then everything else, got canceled.
So you're gonna get to see Smiley then.
Get to see Smiley.
Yay!
Awesome.
Give him a huge hug. We miss that man
Awesome.
and his smile.
Yes.
Nice.
But feel free to check out that crazy tour happening at herbOhtaJr.com. It's going to be a
Yep.
lot of fun.
And also, I think there's probably more updates on the. So definitely check out Herb's social media because I know there's, I think, a few more updates on the social media there too. So definitely follow Mr. Herb on the Facebook or the Instagram. What are the dates for the summer? Oh, Island Bazaar. What date is your Island Bazaar gig? Is it July? I want to say it's July 17th, but I don't remember. Do you remember?
I feel like Jake right now.
Sorry.
Sorry, did I say that out?
Herb will look it up later, and
Yes,
we'll mention
he'll
it
let
a little
us
bit.
know.
I'll let you know in the chat.
Yes. Yes,
but
Tammy.
we-
But
There's something new that just unfolded, and
Yes.
Sarah, myself, and
Abe
Abe
Lagrimas
Lagrimas Jr.
Jr.
will also be at Island Bazaar in
August.
early August.
yes.
I
We're
think
still working out details with Shirley because it's going to be a little bit different than what they normally do. So we're still working that out. I don't think she's going to be publicizing anything until Monday or Tuesday. So don't inundate her with phone calls yet because she'll be like, how did you hear about this? But yes, we are actually going to do, and that's going to be our only thing we're doing when we're in LA because it's a family trip. So we're going over there to spend some time with family, and they happen to live very close to Island Bazaar. So we're just gonna do that, and we'll probably talk to you, Gary. I know you're out there about that trip. And also, finally, what's your news? Do you want us to share it? We're very happy to share. We love taking this time before our live streams to let you know what's going on.
and again, technically, this is our kind of sound check, so
Yes.
definitely let me know if everything is sounding okay and
Yeah.
and looking okay as well. I don't want to
Yes.
get too distracted by all the new stuff, but this is always a lot of
Yes.
fun.
Oh, yes. And then somebody had mentioned, hey, is anybody going to the LA Ukulele Festival? So the LA Ukulele Festival, it's awesome. It is also September 21st. It's the same day as our fundraiser. And it's great. If you are wanting to like go to that event and you're like, I don't know, go. It's really awesome. We do recommend it. And then you can always watch the replay of our live stream
Audrey
another time.
Guerrero will be there.
Yes.
Sammy from the UK, I believe, will be there.
I don't think he lives in the UK anymore, though. I think he lives in,
Oh yeah.
he lives in,
That's right.
yeah, but he's great. He's amazing. So definitely check him out for sure. So, but we'll have her look up in a little bit when he's gonna be. I feel like it's July 17th. I feel like it's my birthday, but we'll see. Yeah. Anyway, that's all of the big. Oh, T-Bug has a cruise in November. See, that's why y'all in the chat, you got to email me and let me know so I can put it up on screen because I'm always happy to do it, but I don't know everything that's going on. Oh, I wanted to give a huge shout out to our very good friend, Mr. Steven Espanola, who also happens to be a cover boy.
Woohoo!
Ooh, look at him. He looks so nice. And then these pictures, I was like, ooh, Steven Espanola, look at that. I love to tease Steven.
He looks
He's
so
such
sleepy. So sleepy.
He's so sleepy. He's such a sweet guy. And I love that he was able to be featured and is just...
Is that like the alien tractor beam?
Yeah,
going
they're
up?
coming. They're coming for him. No, but I just...
That's awesome.
I love his stuff. I love his songwriting, and I'm just really, really excited to see him being recognized on the magazine. He's written a bunch of articles for the magazine, so it's nice to actually see him see his very friendly and happy face. And also, just congratulations to our good friends at Ukulele Magazine for another great issue. I think this is one that I wrote an article in towards the back. As well. Check it out. They always have some cool stuff and great lessons.
Marnie Ward, yes. Let us know about the uke voice and ukulele retreat in August
yeah.
in Colorado as well.
Email us and email
Yes,
us
let us know.
graphics if you have the graphics.
Oh, you guys, let us know. Berkeley, is Mike De Silva still doing the Berkeley, his uke club?
I need to call him back. Cameron was having a moment and when he was trying to call us. Thanks for that reminder, Craig. But yeah, is anybody out there from Berkeley? Can you let us know if Mike De Silva's still putting
Is
together?
there a question about Berkeley meetup?
July 13th.
July 13th.
July 13th.
Island Bazaar with Herb Ohta Jr. and Brian Tolentino.
Oh my God, it's gonna be an awesome show. Kind of wish we were there, but then that would be a repeat of when we were there last time.
But it's sold out.
Oh, it's sold out.
Yeah.
Dang.
I don't know.
All right, then.
They might add. She might add a second show.
Okay.
I don't know.
I hope so.
All right, let me put the three of us on for just a second. No, yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us live again today. We're going to show as much as we can of the packet, but there will be some stuff we have to gloss over because there's so much to get to from today's content. Again, thank you. If you want your own packet, you can go to craigandsarah.com/live.
Yep.
I think I have a... Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Sorry, I'm trying to do all of the things and chat at the same time. But again, this helps keep us doing these live streams free for everyone. So thank you guys so much for your support. Today is a very special live stream because not only are we featuring our good friend Herb Ohta Jr. For those of you who do not know him, he is one of the most majestic ukulele players in the world. We're very clean player. Very old school in how
Where did that come from?
he was raised and learned and just put the time in. So he has a lot of things to share about how he got to where he is now. And
Basically nowhere.
just
I ended up at Craig's house.
Yes.
Craig and Sarah's.
I took each one.
but a fantastic person and player, and we can't thank him enough for joining us today. So thank you, Herb.
Thanks.
Thank you for having me.
One of the great things I did want to bring up before we officially get started is this guy. For those of you who do play with pedals and are always running into power issues, whether it's just a lot of cables or venues not having an outlet for you to plug everything in. Herb actually got us this right before Mighty Uke Day, and we used it without a hitch. It was awesome. What this is a power supply. It looks like your regular thing that you plug in all your different pedals and whatnot, but you do not need to plug this guy in when you're on stage. It's actually a battery.
How long did it last when we just tested to see how long?
It lasted over 12, 14 hours, I think, easily, with like 6 pedals plugged in.
I told him it was like the Hanukkah of battery things, where it was like, it should have only lasted 7 hours, but it lasted 14.
But this was awesome so that, again, you can go on stage, plug out your pedals, and you don't have to worry about any other kind of outsource power, or external power, I should say. Absolutely wonderful, especially if you travel international. You don't have to worry about different voltage converters and all that. And I blew out a couple of things in Australia. I didn't know. So those are the things that you just travel with this. But it's not that heavy. It's fantastic. So thank you, Herb, for...
No, thank Jake. He's the one that took a chance on that and found out it was a remarkable battery.
Yeah, it's like Joyo.
Whoa, there it is.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Okay, so with that said, I figured we'll start with Herb today.
That sounds great.
All right.
So, Mr. Herb, I've got, if those of you who have the packet, I have the arpeggios. It's on page 2 listed. But first, I want to ask Herb some questions. All right, Herb.
Yes.
For your practice, what are some of the things that you typically warm up with?
Mainly picking. I do a lot of scales, major scales, but basically just try to use all of my index, my middle, my ring, and my pinky finger just to try and loosen them up. And then doing scales, like I said, doing major scales like a C scale, right? And then I'll be doing something like, and then because I have a low G, then I can start it from here. But I'll also do different patterns using the scale, like 1, 3, 2, 4, that kind of stuff, and go back, kind of thing. So I do a lot of that before I start playing.
Yeah. Now, when you actually are practicing after the warm up, what do you have like a set? Do you have like a set routine? Is it just kind of whatever? Or is it like dependent on if you have a bunch of gigs coming up, you'll practice X, or what do you kind of do with your actual practice time?
Leading up to a gig?
Yeah, let's say you're leading up to a gig, because that's a good goal, right?
Well, it depends on who I'm playing with, or if I'm just doing something solo. If I'm doing something solo, then I don't really go over material much. But if I'm playing with a guitar player or another ukulele player, then I tend to work on or practice the arrangements of the songs, and
Yeah.
so I don't forget.
I hear that. Now, do you ever have any kind of ways that you might practice a piece? Like, for example, if you find that you're always muddling up one spot, do you just take that and play it at 8,000 times, or do you try to play the whole piece or just a section?
Oh, just a section.
Yeah.
I tell my students that, they tell me they practice like 100 times and they played the song like 100 times. But I told them from the beginning to the end, if you're doing that, then you're just playing the song. You're not practicing. So if you practice like different sections at a time, or even when you start from the beginning and then you hit the dashboard and you're playing something wrong or it's a difficult part, then I would work on that section only and then start from the beginning again and do it that way.
So a question
Nice.
from our artist work students. At what point in time do you start to add new songs to practice compared to when you're practicing older songs?
There's no rhyme or reason. I mean, I think I'm always practicing material that I've recorded or I've normally performed. And then sometimes when a song comes to me or a song that I was like, oh, that's a cool song, then I'll try and incorporate it in my repertoire.
That's cool. Are there any new songs you're working on now?
No.
Nothing has
Really?
sparked you?
No, I'm actually, I started recording last month, so.
What? Are you allowed to talk about that?
No, not really.
Okay.
Not really. Because I'm planning to officially release it next year. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's something to look forward to. Oh my gosh. Now, when you are practicing, if you don't have a gig, is it something just to keep things fresh in your mind or in your fingers when you practice? Like, because I know you play pretty much every day.
Yeah, well, I'm mainly it's material that I'm instructing because I teach online.
Right.
So that's what I'm normally practicing, because it's a little embarrassing when you try to teach a student a song and you just don't even know how to play it yourself.
Yes.
So I'm just saying I probably go through that all the time. So I make sure I practice the songs that I'm instructing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a good teacher.
No,
Thank
not
you for being a
necessarily.
good and conscientious teacher.
Not necessarily. All I know is it's hot in here.
Sorry, Herb. I can turn on the AC if we want. It's not a big deal. But you are in the hot seat, so no worries. All right. Well, did you want to actually go over a few of the arpeggios at all for today? 'Cause
Yeah, I mean, these are the arpeggios that Eddie Kamai taught my dad years and years and years ago. So basically, if you look at arpeggio number 1, the pattern, your string pattern is, I mean, basically you have your first string, your second string, your third string, and your fourth string, right? So the pattern for number 1 is 4, that's your G, 1, then 3, your C, then back to 1, and then 2, your E, back to 1. So what I like to use is my thumb and my index finger on my right hand. You can use your other fingers if you choose to. That's up to you. It doesn't bother me whatsoever. I don't care. Whatever is easy for you. Because once it becomes very difficult, like say if I told you, oh no, you have to use your pinky for your first string. Your brain's probably going to say, what? No way. Right? And then you're not going to practice because it's going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Okay? So I use my thumb for strings 2, 3, and 4, and my index finger for the first string. So I'm doing 4, 1. I just hold a C chord. So 4, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1. 4, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1. Okay, so you can do this for like waltz if you want. Instead of doing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, you can do this. Or I use it during a rubato thing for intro or even outros, where I'm doing something like a C major 7, that's 5, 7, 7, 7, and I'm doing something like that. Kind of thing. So, so arpeggios 1, 2, 3, and 4 are basically that. Like number 2 is backwards, is opposite of arpeggio number 1. He's starting on the 3rd string, right? Your 2nd string, sorry. So you go 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1. 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1. Using the same fingers for the particular strings. Your thumb for 2, 3, and 4, and your index finger for 1. Yeah. And arpeggio number 3. So it's basically, it's self-explanatory. I don't care what finger you use. The fingers I use is the thumb and index finger because it's comfortable for me, and it's the way that I was taught from my father. So, so you can practice that. And then on the second page, one of my favorite arpeggios is number 6. I like to use this in common time songs. So each string that you pluck is an 8th note. Okay. So I only use my thumb and my index finger. Strings 1 and 2, I use my index finger, and 3 and 4 I use my thumb. So if you hold the C chord, so it's 4, 2, 4, 2, 3, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 2. So if you can't do it all at once, you can just break it in half. Do the first half, 4, 2, 3, 2, over and over again.
That still sounds pretty.
Yeah, it does. And then 1, 2, 3, 2. Okay, and then you just combine it. 4, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2. For example, A Cool Morning Dew.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so it goes 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, then G, 2, 3, 4. So if I'm doing rhythm for someone that's singing, I would start on the A minor line. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you can do this pattern at 8th notes for each chord. So start with G, then A minor, D7, G. A minor, D, G. To me, I think that sounds prettier than just doing straight rhythm every time.
That sounds so nice.
So, and like I said, each arpeggio is self-explanatory. Arpeggios number 7 and 8, I normally use my middle finger for the first string, my index finger for the second, and my thumb for the 3 and 4. Okay, so it's good. This is also good to warm up with because it warms up your right hand and obviously your left when you're doing different chording. So
Would you mind playing arpeggio number 7?
number 7.
Number 7.
It's just 1, 2, 4. So my middle finger is picking the first string, my index finger for the second string, and the thumb for the 4th string. So you can do 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4. But I also like to do this in the rubato sections of my arrangements. So introduction. So if we go back to C major 7, that's 5-7-7-7. I'll, instead of, I sampled arpeggio number 1 doing this, but this also gives you a different vibe. Yeah, and number 8 is just you're adding the 3rd string. You're alternating with the 4th and 3rd string. Oh, thank you. Oh, this is cold. Oh.
It feels so good.
Manoa is normally cool.
I know. It's because the studio's so tiny. We have the
the
AC.
last couple of days have been like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
hot, yeah.
That's true.
Okay.
Yesterday, we actually ran the AC because it was like we were dying.
Okay, so 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So I'm alternating the 3rd and 4th string with my thumb. So I do 1, 2, 4, then 1, 2, 3. So that's basically it.
That's awesome.
I mean, my father told me that, you can just learn the arpeggios or you can develop your own patterns if you want. Because every time I watch Craig or Sarah or even Jake for that matter, when they do arpeggio stuff, I always look and I go, what pattern is that? And it totally depends on the music you like to listen to, the genre of music that you like to play. I think that in itself develops a certain feel for different patterns or the way you want to approach expressing yourself musically. So I'm not saying that these are like the 10 Commandments or something like that. But to me it is because it's from Eddie, yeah? And I consider Eddie a god. I think we all do.
Yes.
Auntie Myrna, if you're watching, Eddie,
Yeah.
love you.
And she
but-
might be watching.
I know.
She always surprises us.
I know, but it's up to you how you want to use these arpeggios. My father, as I was saying, my dad was saying, you can learn the arpeggios, but you have to learn how to apply it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But to apply it, like I was mentioning, I like to use it during rubato, introduction, endings. Sometimes you can use it during the song, but you can't do a common time song and do arpeggio number 7.
True.
You
Very
know,
true.
yeah. I mean, you would have to do it where, but you would have to change.
Yeah.
But you would have to do just really quick, right? You
Yeah.
can't do it like in 8th notes because it just won't work.
Well, what I love about this too is that you can apply so many different variables when you practice this stuff too. You can focus on dynamics. You can focus on the tone control. You can focus on, the speed. But part of learning any instrument too is yes, you want to have an understanding of what you're doing. But when it comes down to it, it's the amount of time you put on the instrument itself. And when you're doing these kind of things, you're building that muscle memory. You're building that coordination. So I think it's, these kind of things are so great to have in your practice regimen. It's just, a really great way of doing a lot of things at once.
Oh, like Craig was mentioning, like dynamics.
Great. Yeah.
For example, like that 5-7-7 chord, 5-7-7-7,
Yes.
C major 7, right? You can just play it like this, but if you do it where you go louder at sometimes and then you soften the volume, right? Like then it adds some sort of excitement to the listener because you're not just taking them on like a roller coaster ride just does this, right? You're giving them some movement in their ride. So
Well, it's like listening to somebody tell a story. If I just told the story like this the whole time, you would probably lose interest. But like if you
depends if you're a robot.
This is true. But, but if you're telling a story and you're loud here because it's exciting, but then you get real quiet because you're thinking about whatever it is, right? Like, I mean, you have dynamics when you speak, so you should have dynamics when you play. 'Cause
Right.
You're expressing yourself
Right.
with the instrument.
I think Jake is a master at that.
Oh,
He
is.
knows how to take the listener on a ride.
Yes.
And yeah, he's amazing. And don't tell him I complimented him.
We won't. We won't. We won't.
And there's a question in the chat if you want to read that to Herb.
Is it the one that says "Thank you so much"? That one. Thank you so much for the examples on how you apply. Herb has a version of Europa which starts with beautiful arpeggios. And is it one of these? Your Europa? Is it one of these arpeggios?
I don't remember. Here's one that I do that I use my you can write this down with my middle finger, my pointer, and my thumb. So all I'm doing with my middle finger and my index finger is that I'm just picking string number 1, and I'm picking my second and third and fourth string with my thumb. Yeah. So I'm doing this like 1 1 4 1 1 3 1 1 2. So it's 1 1 4 1 1 3 1 1 2. I can't even play it right now. Whew. Wow, that thing is big, yeah. Sorry, I
all
got
good.
sidetracked.
No.
But, so it's 1 1 4 1 1 3 1 1 2. So in a Europa, I believe I'm playing, holding an A minor chord with my index finger. I'm playing the second fret on the fourth string, and I'm using my pinky on the 7th space on the first string. So it's an A minor chord with a high E, and I'm doing this arpeggio. I think.
It sounds great.
Yeah, but but any arpeggio you do during rubato, it enhances the whole presentation of your song that you're trying to express musically. So,
Awesome.
yeah. Any other
Now-
questions?
Yeah, question. So, even though you pretend that you don't sing, what are
No, I don't pretend.
what are some of the things that you do focusing on as an instrumentalist to still capture as if someone was singing? You know, like how do you replace the singer with how you play?
Gee, Craig, that's a deep question.
Craig asks all the hard-hitting questions.
Yeah, he's not only an expensive friend, but he's a very intellectual friend as well. All I can say is that growing up and my father teaching me, his main focus was cleanliness and clarity with every note that you pick, because he used to always say, you know, if you mess up a melody note, the song is lost, especially when you're instrumentalist. Well, especially, I guess, when you're vocalist too. You sing the wrong note, then it's like, ooh, kind of thing. But, so his main focus with me was I try and play everything clean. Not necessarily the tone factor, but he wanted every note to be heard. So every song that I had to play for him growing up, I mean, I tried to not get any, you know, like this kind of notes or buzzes or, because yeah, he would get upset. I mean, but
I can't imagine the pressure you were under with him.
well, I mean, it's hard to take lessons from someone that's considered to be, you know, a
Living legend.
well, just a good, like a master of anything that you do, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're doing martial arts and then you're trying to, you know, it's like, you know, I can't screw up kind of thing. There's there's always that pressure, but so people who don't know me and how I used to practice, but my father had me practice laying on the floor because it was hard for me to look at my fingerboard and play. So he wanted me to visualize my fingerboard while my eyes were closed, laying on the floor. So maybe 80% of the time, if I'm playing a song, I can play it without looking at my fingerboard because I'm visualizing what the chord formations are. Oh no, Craig's laughing.
No, so so I get like having you close your eyes. Do you think the line on the ground thing was just to see if you do it?
No.
Or was there
No.
something
No.
there's something special about lying down and doing it?
Well, I
instead?
complained once. I was like, Dad, why don't I just be in a dark closet somewhere? And then he thought that was a smart ass answer. So, but I mean, I heard, and I could be wrong, but from what I heard, was that people at the Berklee School of Music, the guitar players have to practice in a dark room.
Huh.
So I don't know if that's true or not.
No, I mean it's like I get the dark part of it, but why lying down?
Maybe he was, I don't know, maybe he was testing to see if I would fall asleep or something and not care.
Or do you actually feel more of the resonance because is actually resting on your body? I mean,
No,
I'm just
because I
curious.
think for him, he was worried that if I was sitting down, I would try to peek at my fingerboard.
Oh.
So that would ensure you didn't
That
have
would
a chance
ensure
to
me
peek.
not
Okay.
to
Yeah.
even look at my fingerboard at all. Because it's hard to play when you're like this, laying
Yeah.
down, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
How old were you?
7.
See, but again, you can wear a mask, right? A sleep mask.
But not when you're 7. I mean, can you imagine Craig? Now Cameron's 4, but like I can't imagine telling him like wear this sleep mask and play. Like he's gonna peek.
I went through a lot when I was 7 years old. I mean, I used to wash my dad's white wall tires when there weren't even white walls.
Yeah.
Anyway, with a toothbrush. Anyway, but I mean, but just those little things that my dad explained to me, I try to express to people who take lessons from me. It's not only a playing thing, you know. If you want to express music and you want to do it well, practice is a priority, and also making sure that passion for the music or the instrument that you're learning to play will always be there. Because I think without the passion, you're not going to practice. So
I feel like in today's age, one of the things, if you want to see how much you guys improve over a period of time, record your practices. And this is one thing that I think Artist Works got really right, was by making students record themselves, they have this amazing library of
Of their
when they
growth.
started,
Yeah.
like to 2 months later to 4 months later. Because I think, especially now that everyone's trying to learn as much as they can through like YouTube or things like that,
Yeah.
they don't actually see the progression as much, and they want things to be mastered a little bit sooner than we did growing up. I think there's more stress and more of a drive to kind of get things perfect really, really quick. Do you find that with some of your students where they want things faster, or
yeah, of course. I mean, I think everyone that wants to take a lesson from anyone, they want to just play right away. They want to know how to strum a certain song
Yeah.
or do a chord melody for a certain song. So I try to start them off with the song. So I kind of nail that that want,
Right.
right? That need for them to learn how to play a song. And then I'll start going off course and doing something like, okay, this your notes chromatically, this is how your fingerboard is laid out. Because I tell my students sometimes, oh, I want you to learn the fingerboard. I want you to practice memorizing your fingerboard. And automatically when you tell someone that, the brain says, no way. Right? I'm not going to do that. I mean, with the open strings and going up to the 12th fret, that's 52 notes. And it's like your brain's going to say, I can't do that. So what I tell my students is that try and set certain goals for yourself, like small goals, like learn where all your A's are on your fretboard, and make that goal for 1 week, you know. And then if you accomplish that before the week is over, go on to the next note, you know. It's just gonna take time, right? I tell people, if you memorize something, you're gonna easily forget it, but if you understand how it is, then you'll never forget. So
Okay,
That's
so-
good advice.
Well, thank you, Herb.
That's great advice.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. What we're gonna do now, I'm gonna switch it over to Sarah,
Okay.
and then, and then I'm gonna mute our mics for now because I'm gonna try to sneak in a fan blowing stuff through this door.
Yes.
But if you want to say something, just raise your hand and I'll.
And he'll unmute
Yeah.
you. You are currently muted, Mr. Herb Ohta Jr. So I always love getting to hang out with Herb and listen to his advice. One of the big things that I think I really enjoy is like he'll hammer home points that I've mentioned to students, which I'm just like, okay, good. That's good. But then I'll always learn something new or a new way, a new avenue to express something to a student. Because for me as a teacher, I'm constantly learning. And it's such a cool thing. So thank you, Herb, for sharing all of that with us. And then, of course, the arpeggios, he showed you a few of them, because what are you supposed to do with the rest of them? Practice them. So enjoy practicing them. And one thing I kind of want to jump up to page 1 for a second. You don't have to flip to it. But basically, I want to talk a little bit about goals. So Herb actually chatted about that just now, about, if you're learning your fretboard, make your goal small, bite-sized, right? So that it's like, I'm going to spend some time this week. I'm going to learn where all the A notes are on my fretboard. And then if you reach that goal early, great. If you reach it later than you expect, that's also fine. But just continue that and change your goals. Just because you had a goal of, learning all of the notes by December doesn't mean that like you have to stay on that goal constantly, right? Also, we've had some people asking us about singing and playing at the same time. So one thing that I love to tell folks is when you are doing anything that's difficult, try to work one thing at a time. If you have trouble singing and playing at the same time, and you are, frustrated that you can't do both, well, practice just the strumming for a while. Then, after you're done practicing the strumming for a while, record yourself playing just the strumming, and then listen to your recording of yourself. But when you record yourself, record to a metronome, then sing along with the recording. Don't try to sing with yourself just yet, because think about all the things that you're asking your brain to do. You're asking it to remember the melody notes, remember the lyrics, remember the chord changes, remember how you're going to do those chord changes, etc. Like what picking pattern, what strumming pattern, etc. So again, work one thing at a time. Yes, Craig.
And just to reiterate too, again, all the different things you want to do as a musician, you still have to have the same foundation for a lot of it. So part of it again is just be comfortable with your transitions, be comfortable of just holding and doing the different styles of either picking or strumming, because it's all going to lead into other things. But you have to have at least that starting point, or that set foundation, and then anything else, then it forks from there.
Yeah.
So, and people, I think, spend too much time on those forks than the actual foundation part.
Yeah.
Because once you have that down, then, the sky is the limit.
Well, as Herb mentioned, people want to learn the song. People want to learn the song, right? So then you don't always take the time to then go, oh, I always mess up at this spot. I'm going to work on just this spot. And you want to take the time to really do that and hone in. Maybe instead, if you're playing a song and it goes from C to F7, for example, like maybe I'm not going to play C with my ring. I'm going to start practicing playing with my pinky and then adding 3 fingers, because that again, we always say, don't be married to how you learned your chords, because depending on what comes before and after it, you're going to do something potentially different. The same kind of idea that I have with singing and playing at the same time also goes for learning a new picking pattern, like the arpeggios that Herb went over. Work with just open strings or just a C chord, something super easy, and just spend your time doing that. Say the pattern out loud before you even begin. That way you know what's gonna happen. The great thing about saying things out loud too, say them out loud in time. That way you are also internalizing the rhythm of what you are doing too. I always find, and you all probably did this in elementary school, in music class. You know, I know not everybody has that anymore, but I know for me growing up, like we had to do clapping the beats and saying them out loud. And that kind of stuff does go a long way in helping you internalize rhythms so that then you can then add them to your instrument. So just again, little things I just wanted to just mention to you folks real quick. So I'm going to move forward, but you can read the page at your own pace and kind of ruminate on it. But I'm going to go to, we've got a little warm-up exercise thing, harmonized C scale. So this is something I'm bringing up because the song I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about today utilizes this. So Herb did an example of doing C major scale going across the fretboard, right? And then he also did one where because he has the low G, was able to play the C starting on the 5th fret. But you can still use that on your high G. It just won't have that same sound you're expecting. Because your starting note's going to be higher than the next note you play. But if you look at a C scale and you just go up the neck of your instrument just on your C string, one great way to learn your fretboard is actually saying these things out loud as you move up one string. And I have it written out in tab, but I also have the music notation there too, where you're going C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, right? Like you can do that as part of your practice so that you learn your C string and you'll know where all the notes are on the C string. Because if you know where your major scale is, you can guess what the in-between ones are, right? They're either going to be a sharp or a flat of whatever you played before. So knowing this, I can go up my neck with this, right? Very exciting stuff. Now next, what I can also do is spend some time on this E string, play all the notes found in my C major scale, but I'm starting with an E string. So it's going to feel funny to you at first. But again, playing E, F, G, and then A, B, C, D, and then E. Now, if I was to put these two things together, I'm actually playing a C major scale that has the 3rd note on top if I was to pluck two strings together. If I have my C string and my E string and I do this, it's harmonized now because I have the 3rd on top. So I can do the 2 strings and then what were my notes? The next notes, it's going to be the 2nd fret of my C and the 1st fret of my E string. Again, those are a 3rd apart. Then I can take this same shape and I can just move it up, boop, boop, 2 frets. And I'm on the 4th fret and the 3rd fret. So let's do those 3 notes. Open, 2 and 1, 4 and 3, right? And I'm just doing the 2. You can do your thumb just doing the 2 like this, or you can pluck like Herb. I don't care what you're doing with this hand so much. We're focusing on this hand. So again, open, 2 and 1, 4 and 3. Now, for the next one, what I tend to do when I'm practicing this is I lift up my index, my middle slides up, and my ring finger is poised to come down and hang out right next to it. So I'm together here. If I were to go backward, I call this apart, right? So I call this together, apart, apart, together, right? That sounds kind of, it's a cool sound, right? Moving it up to the 7th fret, whoop. They're also together. Then next up, it's 9 and 8 here. And then 11 and 10, whee. And then together, 12. Yeah, let's do it nice and slow. Opens, 2 and 1, 4 and 3, 5s, 7, 9 and 8, and then 11 and 10, and then 12s. So I tend to use these two fingers, and then it's a mix of doing this, going. Now let's say I need to practice that transition. I'm going to spend just time on that doing, here we go, up, go back, go up, go back, up, back. This is a great time to pull out a metronome and make yourself play in time as you try to go back and forth. And I might spend a full 60 seconds on this, and 60 seconds is going to feel like a really, really, really long time to do one thing, right? Just that transition. I was joking with her before we started where I was asking him about his, practice and stuff. And I said, the answer to a lot of these questions is I play it a lot, right? Like I play it a lot. Because that's, in essence, what you're doing is you're trying to get that muscle memory. And, we can call it all these fancy names, but in the end, it's, I played it a lot. And so with this scale, practicing it forward and backward. And you'll find it's a really fun, pretty sound. You'll also kind of recognize what? Rugrats, right? Wasn't that the Rugrats theme? Or similar, right? That kind of stuff. Like you'll notice neat things that you're like, oh, this sounds like this song. Oh, this sounds like this. Where you'll be like, oh yeah, I totally have heard that sound before. And all we're doing is doing a harmonized scale. Are you trying to remember the theme?
Yeah.
I think that's it.
The timing, I think, is different.
Okay. But either way, it's still like, wait a minute. So there's that one. I also gave us a bonus one that's on another set of strings. This one I'm not going to go as in depth to because I want to get to our song. You'll notice that I highlighted so I'm playing the notes on the C string again and the A string. And notice how I actually have this one highlighted, which is going to be 4 and then 3. That's because for me, my ear, because the highest note is on the A string, I like hearing that starting on this one, but you should know the rest of them as well, because your scale doesn't always have to start on the root, y'all. And when you're first practicing, it's going to feel weird not having it start on the root if you're trying to do patterns. So if I was to start here on 4 and 3, now notice I'm apart here, and then I go together on the 5, and again my ring was poised and ready. Go up to the 7, and then 9 and 8, and then 11 and 10, and 12. You can go higher if you want to get all the way there, but I stop at 12 because I don't know that many people that are going to really be playing this up here. Going backward 12, 11 and 10, going down again to 9 and 8, 7s, 5, 4 and 3, 2s, and then open. Again, it's another version of a harmonized scale that you probably have heard people doing, what is it? Like that kind of stuff, right? Like it's a very popular sound using that C and the A string like that. Okay? So I think that's it for the close-up for now. So the beautiful thing about this is it's giving you another way to practice your scale. And you can totally utilize this. When you see violinists and cellists use this technique, a lot of time it's called double stops. So if you ever hear that term, that's what it's talking about. I feel like Hawaiian style music uses this kind of stuff a lot when you hear people picking and stuff. So you can also do this on all of the rest of the strings too, y'all. I'm only giving you 2. And the reason why I wanted to make sure we did the middle ones and make sure we can do open, 2 and 1, 3, and then 5, is we're going to actually utilize it a little bit in our song today. So one thing I like doing with practicing is kind of giving you a song to say, here are some things you will be practicing in your song. And the song is, I hope everybody likes Cat Stevens, because I do. And I chose it because I love this song. Peace Train. Glide on the Peace Train. Okay, so anyway, sorry. I enjoy being silly online with y'all. So this song is really easy. The entire song is just these chords. All of it. Like even the chorus. It's just this. So super, super boring and simple. I don't have all the lyrics written there because, I mean, it's kind of a, lyrically, it's kind of a long song. So I just have some of them written there. And I have a really boring strumming pattern listed underneath where I'm just strumming on the beats, right? We're going to try that first. So the reason why I'm kind of taking a step back and showing us some strumming stuff is some of you guys might not be all about doing all the picking right now. So for me, this is how I like to write out strumming patterns when I'm first learning them. Or at least how I used to do it. Now I tend to use music notation for a lot of stuff. But if you don't do music notation, this is a great way. You know when things are happening. And a lot of times strumming will happen in eighth note formations, which is why I have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and written out. If you have 16th notes, you're going to have to do 1 E and a, 2 E and a, but don't worry about that. Okay, so the chords are really easy. Just have C, G, C, G, C, and then F, C, and F, right? I'm playing it super boring and slow. F and G and A minor. And G and F. And that's it. It's like, that's the whole song. But I want us to actually take a look at the second one, which is down here. Oh, except I need to make sure my pencil's working. There we go. Down here, I have that first measure written out, and you'll notice there's something syncopated going on. I'm actually having us play on the and of 2, so you're not actually playing on the second beat, okay? So only strum where it's yellow, and it would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 again. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. Not too bad? Yeah, especially if, again, if you need to, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I might say that out loud a few times if I'm having trouble. Next line. You'll notice there's something that's highlighted in green. That's an option. If you want to play that and of 2, you can. But I definitely want the 1 and the and of 3 and the 4 to be played. All right, if I play it with just what's in yellow, the second line, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay? If I was to add that extra and in there, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Yeah, not too bad, hopefully. Remember, this is recorded. You can go back and watch it again. Let's put them together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's how it would sound. So you've got 1 and 2. I've been smiling lately. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And that would be how I would go through and play the entire song. Ish. One thing I want you to also keep in mind when I'm strumming, right? Like, I don't just pause 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Like, my hand is still moving 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So if I messed up the pattern, I'm still in time. Because to me, especially with rhythm, you might mess up a wrong note, but as long as you stay in time, at least the pulse of the song won't go away. People will notice right away if you stop, okay? And your timing gets off. That gets noticed real fast. If you play a wrong note, it might make someone go, wait a minute, but like they'll forget about it because you've got the rhythm still going, okay, as a rhythm player. So time is really important for this kind of thing. So, and 2 and 3 and 4, and so I've been smiling lately. That kind of things going on. Now, one thing I am going to point out is in the scholar packet, I go more in depth in this song because the chords actually change a lot sooner going around in the scholar packet. So just FYI, if you're going, and this song is actually, the recording of Peace Train that Cat Stevens does is in this key, FYI. I tried to make it so you could actually practice with him if you wanted to. So anyway, let's just go through and have fun playing this song. I want you to try out different kinds of picking patterns and see what kinds of things you like. I'll try to be consistent, but I can't promise. I'm sorry, y'all, because sometimes I tend to play and I'll kind of go off on my own thing a little bit, but we'll play a little bit of it. And then I want us to get into, so we can kind of get the feel. We're going to go into the chorus a little bit differently here. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Happy lately, thinking about the world to come, and I believe it could be. Good things are going to come. See, I'm adding extra stuff, so I've been smiling late. I messed up, that's okay. Thinking about the world as one. See, I should take Herb's advice and actually practice the song, right? Good things are going to come. Now, I actually want to point this out because I go to this chord because I like it better than the F. Just FYI, I actually prefer, and I think I talk about it later in the material. FYI, it's an easier chord to play, but it has a fancy name. F add 9. I like this chord better. I've been happy lately, thinking about the world to come, and I believe it could be. Good things are going to come, right? Like, I don't know. It just has a much prettier sound. And yes, I'm adding an extra strumming thing. That's in the scholar packet, y'all. Let's move forward, because the main reason why I'm bringing this up is I actually want to get into this harmonized scale thing. You remember the chorus of the song? Peace train sound, peace train sounding louder, glad on the peace train. Look at that. Open, 2 and 1. Hit it and slide to 4 and 3. And then hit it again and go back down and then open. That's the beginning of that harmonized scale, y'all. So you have peace, train, hit it again and slide. That was a sloppy slide because I was trying to get it to you. And then hit it again, move back down, and then open. Again, peace, train, sounding louder. That's the part of your harmonized scale. Peace, train, sounding louder. Like, seriously, it's pretty rad how that's your harmonized scale. You practiced it. You can use it in a song now. Woo! I think you might remember, I think our last practice, I talked about Wild World. Oh, baby, baby, it's a wild world. And it was a C scale backward for the lick. Cat Stevens, you and that C scale. Anyway, so it's another great example. And then you have Glide on the Peace Train. What I have here, and it's written down here, is down here. That's that. I know I'm underneath the strumming pattern, but I didn't want to cross out that, but I'm referring to up here. Notice how I have the timing written out because it's a little weird, right? It's 1 and 2 and 4 and. It's the strumming pattern that we had talked about earlier. So you have it here where I'm actually holding. You'll notice the tab actually says this F add 9, even though I just wrote F there. Glide, and then a C chord on, C chord again, the, and then back to F. Peace, train, and train is on the 1 of the next. So I'm going to play it for you. You come in with me. 1, 2, glide on the peace train. I messed up again. Glide on the peace train. 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 One more time. Glide on the peace train. That's what it would be. Let's try it all together. A little slower. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and peace train sounding louder. Glide on the peace train. Ooh ah ooh ah is what's happening. Whatever the rest of that is, right? Again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and peace train sounding louder. Glide on right? Good luck. I mean, you could go if you wanted to add that clapping that happens in the song, right? But there that is for the very first part, and you're using that harmonized scale that you might not have realized was totally in the song. Then you have the ooh-ah, ee-ah, ooh-ah, come on the peace train, that part happening afterward. And this one, again, I just took the strumming pattern that we did earlier, where we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's what I ended up playing for that part. Again, you can kind of do whatever you want, strumming-wise, whatever you feel. I just laid this down as a sort of a good foundation because there's a lot of syncopation in this song. And playing on that and of 2 is something that you totally hear in the tune itself. In the lyric, luckily, the words kind of help guide you because the words also follow that same kind of syncopation, which is nice. So if I was to do 1, 2, and 3, and 4, I'm doing the bottom line. 1, and I'll scoot it up a hair. Sorry. I know. Herb's laughing because I'm like, wait, we're going to start. Just kidding. Oh, that's fine too. All right.
He jumps on the chair like I jump on my bed.
Well, do you see the big old cushion he's got? It's a big old cushion, y'all. Because the poor guy spends a lot of time in that chair. So it's got to be comfy. D, straight, D. So the last line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. I messed up. Let's try again. I'm just going to sing and play. It's a lot easier than me sitting here counting with you guys. So I have ooh ah ee ah ooh ah, come on the peace train. Right? Something like that. So I'm going to go through and do peace train sounding louder, and then that last line to the best of my ability. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, and peace train sounding louder. Glide on the peace train. Ooh ah ee ah ooh ah. Come on the peace train, peace train sounding louder. Everyone look upon the peace train. Ooh ah ee ah ooh ah. Come on the peace train. And then it's a get your bags together, etc., etc. Or it goes into a solo, which I go into the solos during the scholar packet. One thing I want to point out, for the scholar packet, my sort of deep dive into the song where we really get into the nitty-gritty of the syncopated rhythm is also the fact that all of the solos that happen and and that intro to the song, it's all based off of this, right? And it's kind of neat. So just FYI for that. But that's really the main thing for, are there any questions? Also, just make sure if there's any questions, let me know. Definitely let us know. But that's really the bulk of this is if I'm working on a song, I'm going to spend some time working on a technique or something like my harmonized scale that I know exists in a piece. I'll spend some time practicing that. I'll spend some time trying to practice out just your standard rhythm for the song. Yeah, I might, or arpeggios. If you'd rather do arpeggiating during the song, you can. But really trying to kind of hone in on sort of the bare bones of it. Then I would start to add extra stuff to it if I'm feeling comfortable. And again, I will break down my practice. Let's say I really need to practice this peace train sounding louder. 1, 2, and do it again. Peace train sounding louder. 1, 2, play it again. And I spend a lot of my time doing that and then adding on the other half. And I might only do the other half because I messed it up at first when I first was walking through it. Probably should have practiced it a little bit more first. Glide on the peace train again. Glide on the peace train one more time. Glide on the peace train put together. Peace train sounding louder. Glide on the peace train. Right? And that's how I tend to practice is, again, bite-sized pieces. If you break things up into bite-sized pieces and you don't try to play the whole piece all of a sudden, all at once, you'll find that you're able to put it all together a lot more easily. And then, of course, working down here, trying to go through 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 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 3, and 4, and going through that bottom line, trying to work through that. And you'll find that, again, bit by bit, and then putting it together, it'll become a lot easier for you. So that's really the bulk of what I always had rhythm issues on 16th notes, and the metronome saved my life. Thank you, Stephen, for telling us that. Everybody, I feel like so many ukulele players are terrified of the metronome. The metronome, yeah, it's always right, and that's really frustrating because no one likes being wrong. But it's a wonderful tool. One thing I actually kind of prefer over the dry metronome itself, though, is I love drum machines. Like, you remember that drum machine, Herb, from which retreat was it? There was one of the virtual retreats with Jake. He brought this fancy little drum machine, and boy, was it fun. And he's like, you guys, listen to this one, but it makes your practice more fun because it feels like you're playing with somebody as opposed to just this sterile click, right? You can also set some drum machines to actually have swing. So there's a little bit of swinging eighth notes so that you feel you can get more into that groove a lot easier. Even with my scale practice, I'll practice with a metronome and I'll practice with a drum machine too. I find that, or sometimes instead of a drum machine, maybe I'll find a backing track, or I'll make one that's 2 5 1s in the key of C, and I'm like, I'm going to practice my C scale, and then I can play it and do it in sort of a more swing style. That kind of stuff is always really, really, really helpful and kind of nailing it. And when you do nail it, boy, does it feel good, and you really feel like you've accomplished something. So, Craig, do you have anything else that you would like to add about practice in general, etc.?
I'll put the three of us up now, and you're unmuted now, Herb. But it's sorry, I'm gonna turn the AC on in here because it's really hot.
It is very hot.
So you'll hear a little bit of AC.
There's a
I
hum.
apologize, but because we're just gonna be chatting, it should be okay.
I have a really lovely glow right now, y'all. My glow is very nice. Oh, wow. I'm using a metronome as a part of my stroke therapy, so it's double duty.
Oh.
That's crazy, Mary Lou, but how fascinating. Yes, rhythm syncopation is not easy to feel. Oh, thank you, Ingrid. She said, kudos, Sarah, for how you teach it. Honestly, a big thing that I try to do is break it down as simple as I can, where it's like, okay, and trying to count out loud. As you know, as you see, sometimes for certain syncopated rhythms, I'll have issues counting out loud and playing it at the same time. Especially slow. For this one, it's hard for me to actually count the syncopation and play slowly. I want to play it at the speed that the song is, which is weirdly enough, is easier for me just as a player. Sometimes it's hard for me to slow things down. But I'm glad that it makes sense for you folks. But again, remember too that when you're practicing strumming patterns, and I really, really don't like it when people are like, oh, I want to learn the island strum, and they've like named strums. In our online school, we named strums, but the names don't mean anything. I get really frustrated because it's like there's not a gold standard for what the island strum is. It's not a gold standard for what the calypso strum is. It's about the rhythm of it. So really trying to focus in on when you play as opposed to it's down, down, up, up, down. I don't care when you play ups or downs. Yes, I have the ups and downs written there, but those are just guides. If I wanted to play, like that and do, that's all downs. It doesn't matter, as the rhythm is what's important, not necessarily up and down. So also keep that in mind, you guys. It's the pace in your metronome, at least for me. I don't care how you play it, just play it in the right rhythm.
So Denise had a great question in the chat asking about, it feels like there's so much to learn. How do we choose what to practice first when working on a new song?
Yeah.
For me, my biggest thing when you're learning a new song, you look at all the chords first, or the chords that you're not familiar with, and then you look at the transitions. Okay, can I do all the transitions really easy? Let's say we're doing, I forgot the name of the song, Fool's Russian, Can't Help Falling in Love.
Yep.
And if you got all the transitions, great. If there's something like going from a C to D minor, and you want to practice that over and over, but you're looking at transitions because you never want to have the transition be the issue that your timing is off. All right? So part of it is getting your transitions down, and then you can start thinking about, okay, now I want to be particular. Let's say for that midsection, for I can't help falling in, like you want to have that everything come up the fretboard to emphasize that section, things like that. You can start using your secondary positions or third positions because now you have context of how you want to actually utilize it. And coming back down. So yeah, that's my main thing I think at first is look at your chords, look at your transitions, and think about the feel that you want, because then you can think of, I don't want to kind of syncopate things.
Listen to those dynamics.
Or do you want it more straight? Or do you want more, finger style? So there's all about, the feel that you can kind of dial in at that point. What about you, Herb? Any suggestions on things to focus on when you first are working on a new song?
No, I mean, basically what you said. I think it's looking at the overall transition to each chord and where the melody is taking it. And as an instrumentalist, I try to always look ahead to see, even when I'm trying to sight read and play, I'm always trying to look ahead while I'm playing so I know where, like, how to position my fingers the best possible way in order to get to that. So for example, if my melody note is a C but I need to go to an F, like, do I slide my ring finger up here or do I use my pinky? Because if I want to use a chord in a second position, like in an F chord this way or F chord this way, it totally depends. So if I want to hold this chord, I would go here and then I would slide and then put my index finger here, kind of thing. But I'm always trying to look ahead, so I'm just piggybacking on what you said, Craig, because your answer and theory behind it was very marvelous.
Majestic.
Majestic.
But imagine this times one other person and you have the virtual retreat right here. I feel like half the time we're just laughing at one another. No, but
we're just making fun of one person.
We just rag on Jake the whole time. Nah. But one thing I wanted to add to that is it also kind of depends on what your goals are. Is your goal for the song to be performance ready by X date? Is the goal of this just because you've always wanted to learn that song and so you just want to be able to play it for yourself? Is the goal to be able to play the song, multiple different ways? So you also kind of want to think about that. One thing I do recommend when you're working on a song is kind of analyzing the song. What chords are in it, as they said, looking at the transitions, of course, but I also kind of like looking at it and saying, are there patterns? Am I noticing that there's a lot of, that's a lot of one chord followed by a 4, 1, 4, like in going through and kind of, sometimes a song may not seem like it has a pattern. And then other times you might go, oh, dang. Oh, okay, this song, and it's easier to memorize because you understand what the pattern of the song is. And I find that kind of stuff to be kind of helpful, especially for jazz standards in particular, because a lot of those, especially the Great American Songbook ones, are a lot of patterns. So that's definitely something to think about. And then one person had the question, are these pages in my packet? They should be. They go all the way, the standard packet goes all the way to page 6, and then 7 through 13 are the scholar packet. So yes, you should have a bunch of pages in your packet. But yeah, I think that's it for what I wanted to add to that. Mr. Cheese, did you have anything else?
Yep. Any other tips of sticking to your goals?
Oh, yes.
Oh, can I add something to the
yeah.
thirds?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
It's I don't know if you folks have explained this to your students already, but
Do it.
see, what my father had me do was memorize his chord book when I was 7. I went through a lot when I was 7. But like for example, okay, like C chord, right? Say you're in the key of C, and then you have an F here. Sarah likes to use the F add 9. But here's second position F, that's 5 5 5 3, and then a G would be 7 7 7 5, right? And then F would be what is this? 10 11. No, I'm wrong. 10 9 8 8. Kind of thing, like a B flat chord all the way up to the 8th fret. Okay, so what Sarah listed with your harmonies or your thirds is these two strings together, the opens, right? So when you play C chord, you can play this, right? And if you do the second position F, it's the 5 and 5. And then G would be 7 7. Sorry. Right? So what I normally have my students do is that record themselves strumming C 4 times, 2, 3, 4, then F 4 times, then to G 4 times, and then back to C 4 times. Okay? So you can do, because these two strings, E and the C, are part of the triad of the C chord, right? So you can do the scale moving up to 0 0 2 1, and then you can go 4 3. And these two notes is G and E, and those two notes are part of the C triad as well. So if you just strum C chord, you can just do this. And then if you want to go to F, then you can do the 5 and 5. And then if you want to go to the G, you can do 7 and 7. Back to C. Yeah. So if you just strum G 4 times and end on C, you can just run it down from 7 7 to 5 and 5 to 4 and 3, 2 and 1, then open. Yeah. So if you record yourself practicing like just the 1, 4, and 5 chord, you can actually just practice your harmony skills using that. Yeah. And also in the key of C, you have a D minor, and F and D, F and A, even though it's part of the F triad, it's also the two notes in the D minor chord. Yeah. And then you have G and B here, you can use for E minor as well. And then C and A, that's 9 and 8, you can use for A minor. Or even open C and E for A minor. So you can fool around with these chord progressions, and you can practice where these notes are of your chords, and then your goal would be try to get there using your scale. And just practice doing that.
Again, being able to apply.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I love it.
That was awesome.
And you learn your fretboard at the same time,
You learn your fretboard.
too.
So Val had a great comment on saying, I find myself learning techniques but then get stuck on how to use them. I used to force myself to apply it to songs. Like, for example, I was going over a triplet strum with a student. This was back in like 2010, maybe 2011.
When you were 5?
I know. But we were doing like this kind of triplet, that kind of strum. And my student at the time was kind of a wise ass, and she's like, "Oh, you never use that in a song." I'm like, "Oh." So then that night I wrote
A song.
that song "Lips" that has the.
There's the triplet.
But of the things that it was a nice push to be like, yeah, utilize a lot of these things, figure out ways to use it. So even on like, hammer-ons and pull-offs, like I was like, oh, unless I'm doing like that kind of a run, I wasn't really using it that much compared to being able to just hold a G.
Works until you try it.
And just taking like one note and trying to hammer or pull off within just a regular chord that you're doing, slowly start to force yourself to use these things, because then the road's open. Then all of a sudden you have full reign over that control, and again, ways to apply it. And now there's so many different runs where we can really use those kind of techniques.
That was fancy.
I know, that was very fancy.
That was slightly fancy.
But
after this workshop, you can play that.
But it's just a lot of fun. Again, all the core techniques that you guys have been learning on, these are the same things that like Jake uses on stage, 1,000 times faster. Though. But it's pretty much the same stuff. Just slightly different order of things or a combo, a lot more speed.
And if you're having trouble kind of making yourself use techniques, take Arpeggio number 1 from Herb. Take a song you know and love that is in, hold on, Arpeggio number 1. It's in 4/4 time. So take a song that you know that's in 4/4 time.
3/4.
Oh, it's in 3/4? That one's in 3/4? Okay, sorry.
No.
But, again, these arpeggios, take them, apply them to songs that you know already. Try them out. You might say, ooh, I like it during the chorus. I don't like it during the verse. Or whatever it may be. But force yourself to try it, because you don't know if it's going to work or not unless you do it. And same with like if you're learning chords up your fretboard. Make yourself do it. Play if you're going to your jams. And I think I mentioned this in that Ukulele Magazine article. Play at least one chord in a new place. Make yourself practice it, because you're not going to use it unless you make yourself do it. You don't know if it's going to work unless you try. So try, and if it doesn't work, keep that in the back of your mind and try a different one. You'll find that the more you try, and you might find that there are some happy accidents that happen where you play something wrong, but you're like, ooh, I liked that. Great. Utilize that, remember it, write it down.
That happens to me, and I go, well, how did I do that?
I feel like that's where the creative part comes in. It's all they're born from accidents,
Yeah.
Because if you do the same thing all the time, it's going to sound exactly the same. But it's when you experiment or you have something that happens on accident, all of a sudden, ooh, let me go that route a little bit, and then
totally.
Yeah. So just again, things to keep in mind as you're practicing and moving forward in your playing. And I also like to just noodle, as Craig was doing, but a little more slowly, where I'll sit there and hold chords, and I'll just add notes to the chords. How does this,
Well, again, the best thing to do, you all have cell phones pretty much at this point, or iPads, or
you have a
or the
recording
Android
device.
equivalents. Play through a verse, just basic chords. Play through the verse like, so pretend Sarah's my but you can play up the neck, What was it? F and G7?
Yeah, C, A minor, right?
Yeah.
Or you can practice your licks or solos. Like in
Everybody
that
go.
Herb.
Sorry, I can't
But again,
unhear it.
Use technology to help, because we all have access to that now, which is amazing. It's crazy the things that we can do with a tiny phone nowadays, right?
Also, all of those past Scholar packets that I did backing tracks for you to practice with, use them. Those of you Scholar Packet people out there, use those tracks. It's a real band playing behind you, so you can practice these things.
But yeah, whether even vocally, that's where you can practice your vocal runs, or again, use the backing tracks, use your own recordings of how you play things, and use that as your bass, and then start experimenting. Even if it, like Sarah said, just one chord change in that progression, and then maybe your goal in 2 weeks from now is to play all 4 chords in a different place. To what F? We can do into the G7, you know, or you know, any of these, but just thinking of ways to start expanding and pushing yourself out of your safe zone. That's the main thing. And then again, like Herb said, you'll have some happy accidents, and you'll start utilizing that from now on when you
Did
play
I say
that progression.
that or you did?
I don't know. But I like one person saying, I wish I could afford to pay Sarah and Herb to play background for me.
Jeez.
I don't know, you might be
Right?
able to.
But I think the main focus before you apply technique is to learn the song and be comfortable with the song first, so you don't have to think about it. You know, get it to that point where you're not really thinking about how to play the song and guessing where you gotta go. So once that is done, then you can try to apply some technique to your presentation.
Yep. My favorite advice for that was to, you know, have your 4 chord song or whatever song you're trying to learn, and then you can go the whole blindfold route.
Or lay on
But
your
also
phone.
it's you know, take a look at like your cereal box or whatever's in front of you and see if you can read off those words while you keep a steady tempo. You know, the gain focus button, gain 2, focus 2, the mic 2 is off, headphone jack,
Syncopate
HDMI 1. But to be able to hold a conversation, right, is key to be able to think of the others, like the nuances, the dynamics.
See, that's why I think Kelly Boy is like amazing, because he can sing and pick.
All of that crazy
Yeah,
stuff.
all the crazy stuff that he does.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was the same person until seeing them live. Because when you listen to the him perform on the radio or on the CD, there's like no way they can sing those runs and at the
And he's
same
singing
time.
at the same time. I'm like,
Unreal,
Yeah.
amazing.
And who they're talking about, Kelly Boy de Lima. Look him up. Look up Capenna. And you'll hear what Craig and Herb are talking about. Kelly Boy is an amazing ukulele player and singer, and he can do all of it all at once, and it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So definitely check that out.
But that's why you can see all of us like talk on stage while we're performing too, because we're not thinking of the song, because the progression is just ingrained.
Yeah,
You know,
we've
we-
practiced it enough that we can sit there. We can pull an Alice's restaurant while we're playing.
no, you see, but when I'm talking to like John or something, then I'm strumming, and then when I gotta pick, I don't talk.
Oh man.
Nice, but thank you so much, Herb, for joining us.
Yes,
No, thank you for
Sharing
having
some
me.
Some of your awesome tips. I always learn something when we hang out, so I
And
appreciate
again,
it.
HerbOhtaJr.com, huge tour coming up. Definitely get a chance to see him.
On the continent.
Because he haven't been traveling as much on the mainland, on the continent as much.
No, it was last year. I went up quite a bit.
Yep.
So.
Join us for the cruise. Join us for the virtual retreat.
Yes, in
in
August.
August with
Come hang
Jake.
with us and Jake. It'll be really fun.
I'm looking forward to getting seasick.
Yes, get trapped on a boat with us. It'll be
Yes,
fun.
we're gonna be asking you guys for tips for Herb on how to combat seasickness and.
And Craig too.
Okay,
Craig
the funny
surprisingly
part about it is
gets
when I was
seasick.
telling Craig that I might get seasick, right?
Yeah.
And Craig said, "Oh no, it shouldn't be. No, it shouldn't." And then Sarah is in the background going, "You're the one that gets seasick."
Yeah. It's true. Craig is the one that gets seasick. But Craig actually, like, the only time we've ever had an issue, there was our very first cruise, we had an issue where our route got taken by somebody else, so we got pushed out to sea. But
Oh,
that's
wow.
the only time that's ever happened. Every other time, Craig has actually been fine on board. And he does get seasick and carsick, so.
And
FYI.
if I have to take Dramamine, don't worry about it. I act the same way. So
No, it should be a lot of fun. We're with
Neil Chin will be with us.
now what is the cruise line we're doing differently this year?
Liberty.
Oh, yeah, should be fun. Princess
Yes.
was lovely, but it was definitely.
I always hated how we would get
outdated.
shuffled around.
Yeah.
With Celebrity, they actually have conference rooms, so that's what I'm excited about. Is hopefully we won't get like denied our spot because every now and then, because one of the places we had on Princess was the chapel, and we get kicked out if someone decided to get married, and so we'd have to figure out a new place for our classroom because that took
At
precedence.
least put them on a raft or something.
I know. I mean, come on. You really need the chapel. Anyway, but thank you guys so much for joining us today. Hopefully you've been rethinking and reassessing some of your goals as well, and just kind of rethinking your practice. And yes, some of you guys are like, oh yeah, I forgot. I paid for backing tracks. Yes, you did. Go back to that packet, all of the past ones. Go back to those past packets and click on the link in your Scholar packet to take you back to those backing tracks, which you can download to your computer, by the way, and practice a ton. Practice all the stuff. Yes, Herb.
Yeah, I just want to say one final thing. Practicing, I consider that as the journey. That's what your fun. That's what's fun for me, because once you learn a song, you play a song, you perform it several times, or you play it several times, right? And then what happens? You want to learn something different, right? So, yes, I know learning the song and everything is great, but I think the practice of you getting to where you want to get, achieving your short-term goals or your long-term goals, the journey part of it is the fun part. And so if you think about it that way right off the bat, you don't consider it as practice. Yeah.
That was
Oh,
very
nice. That was deep.
very-
That was very majestic of you. No,
Took what I was gonna
as Herb
say.
said, you know, it's great to have long-term goals and Herb-term goals.
Herb. Oh, you slide down. Oh, that was so fast. I'm
thinking
impressed.
about it while
I'm
you were
impressed.
But
Oy.
thank you guys so very much again. Thank you, Ohta Jr.
Thank
Go to his
you.
website. Go check it out.
Yes.
When is the new album gonna come out?
Next year.
Next year, for my 35th anniversary.
That's
Nice.
exciting. Awesome. Well, check out
Awesome.
herbotajr.com, you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us. It's just been a ton of fun. Now, go practice.
Aloha, everyone.
Aloha.
Have fun.